Welcome back to Guides for Brides, the wedding podcast. This week, we have a special bonus episode for you all. We all know that choosing the perfect bridesmaids dresses can be one of the most fun, yet challenging parts of wedding planning. It's all about finding that delicate balance between style, comfort, and making sure your bridal party feels absolutely fabulous. I've been talking to the experts from wed2b to help you navigate this journey. So, whether you're a part of the wedding party or the bride-to-be, stay tuned as we dive into the world of bridesmaids fashion. We've talked a lot about bridal wear. Obviously, there are other elements of wedding fashion, including bridesmaids dresses, which I know you guys have expertise on. Now, thinking about my own wedding, I had 4 bridesmaids. My best friend is having 9. So it's a lot of people to manage. It's a real football team. But it's obviously, if you're going to have someone in your wedding party, they're all people that you love and they're all people that you want to make sure look and feel amazing on the day. But depending on how many you've got, it can be a minor expense or it can be a major expense. Mm-hmm. So how do you navigate that as a bride?
So I think, again, coming back to planning your budget and knowing whether you're going to have 3 bridesmaids or 9 bridesmaids, and sometimes there's a lot of politics around the number that you have and who gets included and who doesn't. But ultimately, taking control and taking ownership of your budget and having those honest and open conversations with people about the decisions. Being honest and open is a clear pattern in this. It's probably going to be in the title. Absolutely. About the decisions that you're making as to why you may have X number of bridesmaids over another number, and being honest as to why that is. Logistically, coordinating a large number of bridesmaids is probably going to be quite challenging, because obviously people can live in all parts of the country.
Well, that's what we're having at the moment with my best friend. Is like her 2 of her friends live in Sheffield, we live down south, someone else lives elsewhere. It's quite a big group. So
and you have the issue of one style of bridesmaid's dress might really suit your friend, but it might look not so flattering on your sister, or the colours might not quite work. So keeping an open mind in terms of flexibility of colours or styles, mix and matching, having different, maybe having the same colour in different styles, that's going to flatter everybody so everybody feels great and comfortable. But coordinating people across the country can be a real challenge.
Look, the number of possibilities is infinite, and hence that's the name of our bridesmaids collection.
How convenient.
It's each of our stores has over 100 sample sizes to try on. So if we don't have the colour in that dress style, we'll have the size. And these wedding parties. I mean, the story recently, we had a bride in our Milton Keynes store. She had a friend in Sheffield and she had a friend in Glasgow. They were all in stores at the same time, at the wed2b store, FaceTiming each other and trying on different styles. The reality was, it was amazing. And that's, people live all, as you mentioned, people are all over, and trying to coordinate that. I imagine that's one of the most stressful things. You've got your best friend that needs to be there, but guess what? She's got work, family commitments, etc. The ability for her to walk into her local store and try on and then feedback on her style. Mix and match, you mentioned, I think that's become so popular.
I think the popularity of it is, number one, you've got all of your friends who, as you say, different body shapes, different skin tones. One colour's not going to suit one person. One shape isn't going to suit another person. But you all want everyone to look cohesive. And I got around that by having multi-way dresses. But I know loads and loads of people that have a range of colours and a range of styles. And I think that's why it's so popular right now. How do you guys tackle that? Obviously, there's so many options that it can be quite difficult.
I think the key thing is that we'll always be looking at what's on, same as our wedding dresses. All of the stock that's in store is available within weeks. We talked about being on trend. Meghan Markle gets married today. Everyone loves that style of dress. It becomes the most popular dress. Her bride, Pippa Middleton, she wore a particular type of dress as a bridesmaid or a maid of honour. We can have those styles and colours in stores within weeks. And I think we do have to limit the number of colour ranges, etc., because it is infinite, but there is a point. So I think it's trying to be on trend. You know, jet black has become really popular, but some people would look at jet black and say, no, not a chance. Some people only have one solid colour. And I think it's that mix of, and even with material now, you know, chiffon has been a staple for a bridesmaid's dress for years, and satin, whilst it is a particular look, it can be stunning. You know, and I'm seeing people now mix those as well.
And how do you manage the cost of that? Because as we were talking about, like, it can be a small cost, 3 bridesmaids, pretty minor. 9 bridesmaids, you're tripling that. So how do you, as a bride or a groom, navigate the cost of dressing your wedding party?
Again, I think being honest with yourself and being honest with your wedding party about what is and isn't feasible. When you ask your best friend to become your bridesmaid and they're excited, they love that job. That's what an honour to be asked. And they might go off and start going, right, okay, I'm going to research bridesmaid dresses here. I found this amazing one, it's £400. If you haven't been honest with that bridesmaid, say, I can't afford £400 for a single dress or for a bridesmaid, but let's look around the £100-150 mark. That's a bit more realistic for me. So being honest with your bridal party about what's affordable, and about what you're willing to pay for as well, about what's coming under your remit. And you know, whilst you don't want to burden your friends with costs for your wedding, you know, being honest about what, you know, maybe they're buying their own shoes, maybe they're contributing to the cost of the dress if they're going to keep the dress. Having those really honest conversations and pitched in the right way with the people who you love the most, who should take that conversation as it's intended. It shouldn't be. It's always a sensitive thing talking about money, isn't it? But being open and honest about it and laying everything on the line.
Yeah, I've seen things on TikTok where a bride had asked her friends to be a bridesmaid, and she wrote a letter to them saying, like, if I totally appreciate if you say no, this is the kind of thing you'd be paying for. Like, just being very honest and open with it. Now, obviously, we don't all have to go to that same extent, but it's one of those things that, I guess you're right, open, honest.
Well, I think from my perspective, like I'm ever going to. The reality is, your best friend's getting married. If you're not wearing a bridesmaid's dress, your outfit's likely to cost more than the bridesmaid's dress.
That's a fair point.
There is, and you've got that. You're part of that wedding party. I don't think it's an unreasonable question to ask for those to contribute, although maybe not as direct. Everyone's their own. I feel like if you're choosing 9 bridesmaids, you've probably got a good idea already if you can afford 9 bridesmaids dresses yourself, or you have the wedding party that's already willing to contribute, and you've had those. Again, we'll come back to open planning, honest, and you know it's. It can be a difficult one, and we've probably got many stories of people falling out over and people not being part of the wedding party because that style doesn't suit me but it suits her, and you know I'm sure that conversation has happened.
And having the conversation early as well. I think if you're having the conversation when you're in the store and the bridesmaid is stood there in the dress in the store, and perhaps the bridesmaid has picked out the really expensive dress, you know, you've blindsided your bridesmaid as well in a way. So having the conversation early and setting your expectation really in the loveliest, warmest, friendliest way with your besties, I think is absolutely the right thing to do.
Fantastic.